Time for the 49ers Rush Podcast.
You know, I've been doing this for 8.5 years, this whole 49ers Rush, whatever, going on year 9, and I try my hardest just to disclose all bias. I'm a 49ers fan. I don't want to be an NFL insider. I don't want to be a 49ers insider. I don't want to be a media reporter. Don't want to be a beat reporter. Don't want to do any of those things. I want to be a fan that brings people together, has a good time, and loves his team. And I'm very honest with the players that I freaking love. I wear jerseys to the games, right? Like, I am not an objective reporter. I try to be, but I don't even want to be a reporter, and I don't even want to be objective. And no player for the 49ers does that ring more true than number 21 on our countdown this year, Dre Greenlaw. He's my favorite player on the 49ers roster. He's number 1. And he has been. A lot of that, foster parent, adoptive parent, whatever. Dre Greenlaw is a foster kid. That just embodies everything that I love about football. One, I played linebacker, coached linebackers. I love the violence of the sport. Nobody embodies the controlled violence that football encapsulates more than Dre Greenlaw. He's unbelievable. Now, the issue is he's coming off a very severe injury. Very. Torn Achilles in the Super Bowl. I don't think there's another player or play that changed the trajectory of the outcome of the Super Bowl more than when Dre Greenlaw got injured. You had Travis Kelce bumping his head coach and trying to fight his head coach on the sideline because he's getting shut down when Dre Greenlaw was out there. As soon as Dre Greenlaw goes out, Travis Kelce catches fire, goes off, and, whatever. The rest is history. Now, the whole what if, and, it's a fun game to play. But Greenlaw's that damn important. If you look at just in the 3 years we've done the 49ers roster countdown, 2022 he was number 16, 2023 he was number 14, and this year he's number 21, despite the fact that he's going to be missing a very large portion of the season. In our rankings, we put in 4, ballots, 1 through 91, ranked every player. His lowest was 26. His highest was 12th. There is no doubt that Dre Greenlaw will return. It's just when. And there's no doubt that whenever he does return, he's going to play a very pivotal role down the playoff stretch of the 49ers for this 2024 season. Now, can the rest of the linebackers kind of hold true until you get Dre Greenlaw back? And then, that defense will get an instant boost because he's so damn good. Now, will he come back 100%? That's another thing. We'll see. But Dre Greenlaw, he is the enforcer, the tone setter, the cultural identity of this 49ers defense. He changes everything because offenses know 5'7's lurking out there, and he's trying to kill somebody. It's just the way he plays. It's the way he plays. Now, you look at his height, weight, 6 foot 230. He's 27 years old. He's still got some playing time. And he doesn't win with speed. He ran a 4.7, 340. That's decent, not great. All the young pups behind him, way faster. But it's instincts, it's violence, it's consistency that he brings to the tape. And, you put in all of his measurables and mock draftable, I don't even care. There is not a football player in today's NFL that embodies what Dre Greenlaw does. There's not one. There's not. The closest comp, and, you got to give credit to Kyle Shanahan, that's Mike Tyson with the 49ers uniform on. And whenever he shows up and he hits, everybody feels it. The energy, the penalties, all of it. And that weighs on an offense. They are scared to death. Fred Warner's the best linebacker in the NFL. Nobody debates that. But I guarantee you, if you ask a running back, would you rather get tackled by Fred Warner or would you rather get tackled by Dre Greenlaw? Probably 90 out of 100 are going to say, I'll take Fred Warner. Because Dre Greenlaw can end your career. That's how mean he is. Ask the Seahawks, right? Ask the Packers. Ask the Eagles. Good Lord. Ask the Eagles goon squad on the sideline of the field. Dre Greenlaw will come for you. It don't matter where you are. If you're out there and you're wearing the wrong colors, he's like a bull. He will attack, period, for better or worse. And I get it. The penalties are very frustrating. I understand that. But you can't change somebody like Dre Greenlaw. you want him to have that killer instinct, that Patrick Bateman attitude in between the lines. Obviously, you want to get more mature, and the penalties go down, down, down. But the NFL is scared of Dre Greenlaw. The NFL is scared of this guy. He's going into his 6th season. He has made his stamp on the NFL. Went to Fayetteville High School, the Purple Bulldogs. What's up? In Arkansas. Recreation and Sports Management, was a 3-star recruit. He was the last offered scholarship by the University of Arkansas that year. He's the last one. His name is Keandre Jaquan Greenlaw. Goes by Dre. I love it. It's since 8. He's had a rough life. Grew up in group homes, homeless shelters. And at the age of 14, he met Brian Early, the defensive coach for Fayetteville High School. And the Early family invited him to live with the Early family. And he lived there with them for 7 years. They didn't adopt him until he was 21. But absolutely just incredible what they did for him, and that he has that family. And, you see if you've watched like the Warner House, and they've had Dre Greenlaw on, and just how good of a father he is, and his relationship with his family is everything. It's just awesome. I'm all about breaking cycles, negative cycles, especially the family trajectory. And that took place. That's Dre Greenlaw. So somebody that, is just an absolute amazing human on the field and off the field. Just love this man. He was a cornerback in high school, and was 7-8 state champions. He had 43 tackles, 2 forced fumbles, 5 pass breakups, interception. I mean, he was just a stud. Then he moved to strong safety. Then he moved to linebacker, and that's where he was. Chose Arkansas over several other teams, that wanted to redshirt him and all that kind of stuff. Georgia and Washington State were a few that were on there, but he wanted to play and he wanted to stay close to home. He was a 2018 team captain. You got to love that. All SEC freshman team, defensive freshman of the year. Just unbelievable what he was able to put on. Then you look at, what he's done in the NFL. In 2019, he was the Thomas Heron Memorial Award. That goes to a rookie or first-year player that represents the dream of Thomas Heron, and just kind of that's voted on by the coaches. Just this past year, Dwight Clark Award a winner. Like, come on, man. Like, this dude is awesome. The CEO of Seattle. You had the infamous stop, on the 1-inch line against Seattle. We don't even make the playoffs that year. That dude put us in there. We made it all the way to the NFC Championship. I forget what year that was, but whatever. It doesn't matter. I think it was the 2019 game, which we went to the Super Bowl that year. That gave us the 1 seed and all that kind of stuff. Absolutely awesome. Then you look at just this year. Like, look at the Eagles game. That was a defining moment for not one but 2 franchises. Whenever the Eagles, after the NFC Championship and talking all that trash, Debo goes out there, does his thing. Meanwhile, the 49ers defense is doing the same thing. You're handling them, and then Big Dom gets up in the face and puts his hands on a player. Dres not going to put up with that stuff. He gets ejected from the game, which is ridiculous. All of those refs should be fired and should never ref a game again for the rest of their careers. Careers should be over. So should Big Dom's, but whatever. But that was a defining moment. I remember everybody was like, uh-oh, this is going to give them the energy to come back. Wrong. That ruined the entire Eagles season. That point on, the Eagles were done. D-U-N. And the 49ers responded. They responded and got better. And so, that was incredible. Now, goes out there, he pops his Achilles. And before we get to the Super Bowl, we've got to also talk about, I think his best game ever was probably that divisional round game against the Packers, where he goes out there and gets not 1, but 2 interceptions. Right? Everybody wants to talk about how great Jordan Love is, and Jordan Love's great. He really is great. But that was a close game, and Dre Greenlaw shut that game down with 2 picks in 1 game in the playoffs. That's huge. I think it was 12 tackles shy on the season of Fred Warner's, team lead in tackles. Just incredible. PFF scores, you want to look at those. He's one of the best there is, period. He had an 80.2 overall grade, 89.7 coverage grade in the postseason. Big plays, Dre shows up. Big play, Dre. That's just who he is. The definition of clutch. 5th round pick, another fifth-round gem back in 2019. And as soon as he was drafted, probably one of the best, 1, 2, 3 drafts of the 49ers history is that 2019 draft. Bosa, you had Dre Greenlaw, you got Debo. I mean, it was just awesome. It was just so good that you got all those guys. Now, fifth-round pick, he signed the contract extension last year, a 2-year deal, $16.4 million. He's made $12.7 million in his career. This is the last year of his deal, though. This is it. Is this going to be the last hurrah for Dre and the 49ers? Probably. I hope not, and I hope they find a way to keep him, but with Ayuk and Purdy and Demo and Charvarius Ward and Hufanga and Banks, the names just go on and on and on of all these players on expiring contracts. Who all you keeping? We'll see. A lot of that has to do with how will Dre come back from his injury. So let's talk timeline from a torn Achilles in the Super Bowl. But before we do, let's hear from Johnny Holland, the 49ers linebacker coach, just on the mentality of Dre Greenlaw. And kind of, this was recorded in OTAs. So let's put that in perspective. So here's Holland on Dre Greenlaw.
Dre is always positive. Dre's always the cup is half full than empty, and I got a lot of confidence that he'll be back full go. And I don't know the time frame, but Dre is a player that stand for the 49er type of defensive player that we want. He's a violent, physical player, but on the other side, he's a great teammate, and we miss him being on the field. But it's part of the game, and you get.
So, if you look at it, okay, usually 9 months. I'm recording this episode on the 12th of August. And right before we went live, Jalen Phillips, who's the edge rusher, he's listed as a linebacker. He's the edge rusher for Miami. He just got activated from the PUP today, which is almost exactly 9 months to the day of his Achilles injury. So that's kind of the time frame you're looking for. Now, when did the injury take place? Early February. Well, you're looking at early November. That's whenever you're hoping that Dre Greenlaw comes back. That's not time to come back and start a game. Activated early November, maybe by the Thanksgiving. That's when he's playing. So if he gets activated early November, let's just say November 10th, just by going with the 49ers schedule, that's week 10 against the Bucs. So let's say he gets brought off 2 to 3, the 3-week practice window. And let's say November 24th, that's whenever he comes back to play. That's week 12 for the Green Bay Packers. So if that's the case and that's the timeline, he's playing in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games before the playoffs. That's awesome. Not even missing 2/3 of the season. That's the goal. That's the optimistic view. Is he going to come back and be 100%? We'll see. How are the 49ers' Devondre Campbell filling in? How's D. Winters filling in? How's DFF, Jalen Graham, all these other linebackers? If they're all playing lights out, you can give Greenlaw a couple extra weeks. But I don't care if every single one of those guys I just mentioned played their career best year. I'm taking Dre Greenlaw at 85% over all those guys at 100%. Devondre Campbell might be the only one that would be like, okay, if Campbell's balling out next to Fred Warner, maybe you bring back Dre Greenlaw as the linebacker 3, that Sam linebacker role that only comes out there 20% of the time until he's back fully. Then he would take the wheel and you kick Devondre Campbell. And so by the playoffs, assuming everybody's healthy at the linebacker position, which is a huge if, you'd want Warner 1, Greenlaw 2, Campbell 3. That's the best linebacking core in the NFL. The 49ers might have the best linebacking core in the NFL even without Greenlaw, but you add in Dre, that changes everything. And this is his last year. One, Dre's got to come back and prove he's healthy so he can get that contract. He's in the last year of his deal. So he's got to come back and prove, look, I'm back. I can play at that same level so he can get paid. We'll see if that's with the Niners or elsewhere. But he comes in number 21, my favorite player. Love this dude. And I hope that he responds and comes back the way that he's supposed to, because we're going to need him for the playoffs. He's the clutchest dude on the defense. It's just who he's been. And so you need that. And hopefully he gets enough time under his belt in the regular season so that we can have that to close out and get that Super Bowl number 6, man. Dre Greenlaw is so pivotal to this year, even though he's probably going to miss the first 10 to 12 games. Dre Greenlaw, we love you, man. Get better, get back, and freaking get paid. I want this dude to make some money, so get that ring. All right, for us, we'll just keep counting them down.